sewage is municipal wastewater. Sewage is defined as wastewater from a home or a community or industry. Basically, there are three types of sewage: the sanitary sewage, the storm sewage originating from surface runoff, and combined sewage, which is a combination of the sanitary sewage and the storm sewage. Sanitary sewage can be domestic and it can also be industrial. Domestic sewage consists of human body waste, feces, and urine. Body waste plus sewage is equal to domestic waste. Sewage is defined as wastewater originating from personal washing, laundry, and kitchen utensils. Fresh sewage is a grey turbid liquid containing large floating suspended solids, which may be feces, rags, papers, vegetables, and many more, and very small solids in colloidal suspension, that is, non-soluble material. Sewage is objectionable in appearance and it is extremely hazardous in content. Why is it hazardous in content? This is mainly because of the pathogenic organisms it contains. In hot climates, sewage can soon lose its content of dissolved oxygen and hence become stale. Why is it that sewage loses its dissolved oxygen in hot climate, whereas in cold climate it does not lose it easily? So you note that and get the answers out. In hot climates, sewage can soon lose its content of dissolved oxygen and hence become stale or septic. Septic sewage has the most offensive odor, usually because of hydrogen sulfide. I want you to do a comparison of human feces and urine. I also want you to do a comparison of sewage and sewage. Sewage is S-U-L-L-A-G-E, while sewage is S-E-W-A-G-E. I've defined what sewage is, and I said sewage is municipal wastewater. I also said sewage is defined as wastewater from a home or a community or industry. We can define sewage as we define a noun. In primary school, we are told a noun is the name of any person, animal, place, or thing. Even though students don't understand the meaning of the noun, they cram it, they memorize it, word for word. When we got to secondary school, we understood what they were talking about the noun. That is a name, When you name something, that is a noun. By the time you go to the university or towards the end of secondary school, you will now discover that a noun is a name of anything. So then, at this level, I can tell you also, because this is an advanced level class, I can tell you that sewage is wastewater from anywhere. So anywhere you produce wastewater, any kind of wastewater, that wastewater is sewage. Now, talking about sewage, solid contributes a wide range of chemicals to sewage, that is detergent, soaps, insecticides, drugs, etc. Now, we'll move on to talk about the strength of sewage. The higher the concentration of waste matter, that is organic matter, the stronger the sewage is said to be. The strength of sewage is judged by its BOD5 or COD. It is governed to a large extent by the water consumption of a community. In tropical countries, sewage is said to be strong because of its BOD value of 400 to 700 mg per liter, whereas in USA and allied countries, sewage is said to be weak because the BOD is in the range of 200 to 250 mg per liter. In the tropics, water consumption per head per day is in the range of 40 to 100 liters per head per day, and in USA and allied countries, it is in the range of 250 to 400 liters per head per day. So we said in the tropics, water consumption per head per day is in the range of 40 liters to 100 liters. Now you are students and you stay in your hostels or you come from home. I want you to do a simple arithmetic. When you wake up in the morning, you want to look at the 24 hours of the day. How many liters of water do you use? So you write it down and send it to me in the comment section below. How many liters do you use to take your bath in the morning? How many liters do you use to cook? How many liters of water do you drink in a day? During breakfast, during lunch, during dinner, between these times, how many liters of water do you drink? Write it down. How many liters of water do you use when you visit the water closet or you go to defecate? Write it down. How many liters do you use for any other use, cooking and washing of your hands or your feet or your legs or anything? Write it down for the whole day. Then you can calculate how many liters that you use in a day, and you let me know in the comment section below. Other factors determining the strength of sewage is also the organic waste produced per person per day, and the quantity and quality of solids are also determining factors. Variations in diet is also significant. The average breakdown figure for capital BOD5 contributions daily expressed as gram per head per day include personal washings, laundry, dishwashing, garbage and toilet waste, including feces, urine and paper. These values or figures vary from country to country, and they also vary from city to city. These values also vary from person to person, and they even vary from day to day. Yes, the amount of water that you use or the amount of water consumption, it varies. Amount of organic waste produced varies. Amount of quantity and quality of solids varies. Variations in diet also varies, and it varies from country to country. It varies from city to city. It varies from person to person, and it even varies from day to day. If you have a class of students who are 50 in number, or 25 in number, or 100 in number, or 200 in number, or 300 in number, and you ask each of them what quantity of water they take during or after a meal, you will see that it varies from one individual to the other individual. It varies from one city to another city. It varies from one nation to another nation, and it varies from day to day. So a particular individual may use a particular amount of water on day one. By day two, that same individual may use another category of water, another amount of water, volume of water. So there are variations. So in determining what happens, that's why we said the amount is a range 400 to 700 milligram per liter. That is the BOD value. And the water consumption in the tropics, we say, is 40 to 100 liter per head per day. What is the liter of the bucket you use to take your bath? Usually you have 20 liter, you use about 15 liter or so to take your bath. So with all this, you should be able to calculate and estimate properly. Generally, sewage is characterized by three parameters of significance. Number one is the amount of suspended solids. Number two is the oxygen demand of the waste or of the organic matter. Number three is microorganisms of intestinal origin. Normal sewage consists of 0.2 to 0.3% of suspended solids and other soluble organic and inorganic substances. The major constituents of the suspended solids are protein, cellulose, fat, lignocellulose, and other inorganic particulate matter in colloidal state. The organic content is measured in terms of its oxygen equivalent by means of BOD. The amount of organic matter present determines the strength of sewage. Now, what is BOD? BOD is defined as the amount of oxygen required during the stabilization of decomposable organic matter by oxidation or aerobic biological action. It is therefore a measure of the concentration of organic matter in a waste that can be oxidized by bacteria or by microorganisms. Generally speaking, 70 to 80% of BOD of domestic sewage is satisfied in 5 days. In 5 days, 70 to 80% of domestic sewage is satisfied. So that is why we use the standard BOD 5 days. So we don't use BOD 10 because you will not satisfy 100% eventually. But at the time you use BOD 10, it may be satisfying 90% because after 5 days, the stabilization or oxidation potential reduces such that it does not follow a straight curve again. The curve begins to wobble, the curve begins to bend, the curve narrows. It does not move in proportional form again. So that's why researchers have stopped at BOD 5. So, generally speaking, 70 to 80% of BOD of domestic sewage is satisfied in 5 days. The BOD test is one of the commonly performed ones at sewage treatment plants to measure the quality of treated effluent. BOD is usually expressed on a 5-day 20 degrees C basis, that is, as the amount of oxygen consumed during the oxidation of waste for 5 days at 20 degrees C. This BOD 5 is more easily measured than the ultimate BOD, which is the oxygen required for the complete biooxidation of the waste. There are 3 ways of expressing the oxygen demand of a waste. Theoretical oxygen demand. There are more than 3 ways. I will just mention 3 ways here and I will give you others which you go and find out. You have the theoretical oxygen demand, number 1, which is the theoretical amount of oxygen required to oxidize the organic fraction of a waste completely to BOD, completely to CO2 and water. So you have C6H12O6 plus 6O2, then the equal to the product arrow will give us 6CO2 plus 6H2O. Now, theoretical oxygen demand of 300 mg of glucose is 192 over 180 times 300 over 1. I take that again. From the equation I've just stated, glucose there is 180 gram. The amount of oxygen used up in that equation is 192 gram. Now, if we want to determine the theoretical oxygen demand for 300 mg of glucose, how do we do that? Glucose is 180 initially when oxygen is 192. So to find for 300 mg of glucose, what you just need to do is 192 over 180 times 300 over 1, and that gives us 320 mg per liter. So the amount that we need is 200 mg per liter. Theoretical oxygen demand is theoretical. It is not practical. It is in theory. So it's going to be different from the value, the actual value when the experiment or the practical is done. Because the sewage is so complex in nature, the theoretical oxygen demand cannot be calculated, but in practice it is approximated by chemical oxygen demand, which is obtained by oxidizing the waste with a boiling acid dichromate solution. This process oxidizes almost all the organic compounds to CO2 and H2O. The COD, however, does not give any information on the proportion of the waste that can be oxidized by bacteria, nor the rate at which biooxidation occurs. The rate of oxidation of organic matter (BOD) removal at any time is proportional to the amount of BOD organic matter. So if on the x-axis we have time, on the y-axis we have oxygen utilized, the graph will move from the 0 point and move up in a straight line, proportionally straight line, and then as if it's at its exponential, and then later it curves out to stationary. If BOD remaining is on the y-axis and time is on the x-axis, and the graph is going to come down and it will flatten out with time. So that is to state that the rate of oxidation of organic matter BOD removal at any time is proportional to the amount of BOD organic matter. Usually the action of aerobic bacteria or massive quantities of organic matter present in polluted water often reduces the dissolved oxygen level to 0. When this happens, anaerobic decomposer organisms take over and putrefaction sets in, whereas aerobic bacteria produce odorless water and CO2. Anaerobic bacteria produce gases such as methane, hydrogen sulfide, which accounts for the staunch this bad odor associated with this process. So this is a brief on sewage, wastewater, on BOD, and the strength of sewage. I'm going to continue after this break.